Hey guys, it's Chase with New Beginnings Woodworks. You all been asking, so I'm going to give it to you. The Bible boxes that I've built, that I've posted on my YouTube page, on the Facebook group, and everywhere else that I post anything, I'm going to build one of them today, and I'm going to give you all the sizes to every cut, everything that I do on them, so you can build your own. This is a great Christmas gift for this time of year, so let's get started. All right, what I have here is a piece of quarter sawn white oak, and this piece right here will do your box minus the lid. This piece right here is 51 by 5 3/8, and we're not going to use the whole width, but I can get all four sides and possibly the trim that goes around the base of the box out of this one board. So what we're going to do is I'm going to measure down. My box is 9 inches wide, so I'm going to make a mark at 9, make a mark at 18. Then I'm going to go put my ruler on the 20-inch mark, so I know 12 inches from 20 would be 32, and then 12 inches from 30 would be 42, and that covers all four sides of the box. Now, you don't want to make them marks and cut them. What I'm doing is just making sure that I have enough material here to do all four sides. You want anywhere from 5 to 6 inches longer than what you need, so you have some room to work with. So with my sides being 12 inches long, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my sides at 13. Then I'm going to go on my other sides, it's 9, and I'm going to mark them 10. And that gives me an inch to play with right there whenever I'm cutting the miters and all that jazz. First, what I'm going to do is the height of this box without the lid, just the sides from the bottom to the top, is 3.5 inches tall. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to rip this down to 3.5 inches wide. Okay, now that we got this ripped down to 3.5 inches, what we need to do now is cut our pieces for the sides. And everything is going to be to 45-degree uh, cut, bevel, whatever you want to call it. But I want to mention something. Whenever I was ripping this board in a table saw, you will see that I have long sleeve hoodie on. And whenever I ran this through the table saw, I didn't raise my sleeves up. Never run anything through any piece of machinery that has any moving parts on it with a long sleeve shirt on, because if the blade was to grab a piece of this sleeve, it would have jerked my hand right into the blade, and I wouldn't have been able to do the rest of this video. I'd be at the hospital the rest of the night. And it's not just for the table saw, it's for the bandsaw, planer, wood lathe, miter saw, anything with any moving parts on it can grab your clothing and pull you into the tool, and you will not be a very happy camper. And if you've seen that part and you have paid attention up to this point, comment in the video safety first. Let me know you are watching. And if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button, and please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps out a lot. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to adjust the bevel on my miter saw to 45 degrees, move the junk on my workbench, and you want to come down and cut your first angle on this piece. Then you want to lay it down flat, get your tape measure and your speed square. You want to pull down 9 inches. Make a mark. Then what you want to do is you want to transfer that mark to the top of the board. Now you can put a stop block in, and you only have to measure this one time. Let me double check this. But where I'm only cutting 4 pieces, I don't really want to go through the trouble of setting up a stop block just to cut 4 pieces. All right, now adjust your bevel to the opposite side of 45. Make your cut. And we should have 9 inches. And then you want to rinse and repeat. Okay, now that we have our pieces cut to size, what we're going to do now is the bottom of this box. If any of you all have a laser, I'd say you have some of this around, but this is an 1/8 inch plywood. What I normally do is I'll make the bottom of the box out of this, and before I install it in, I will put felt on this. But the person that's getting this box right here, they don't prefer felt in theirs. So what we need to do now is we need to cut a dado in the bottom of every one of these pieces to accept this piece of plywood. And what I do is when you've been building these Bible boxes as long as I have, you can just about eyeball where they need to be. But what I do is I come up 1/4 of an inch, and that's where my dado will start. Most of the time you'll run these through once, bump your fence over probably a 1/16, maybe a little heavy of a 1/16, and then run it through it again, and it'll take that piece of ply easily. You do not want it to be super tight. You want it to be snug, but you do not want it super tight to where you have to force it into the dado. And then what you'll do, you'll set your blade height. You're coming in 1/4 inch from the bottom, and that's where the dado will be. Then right here, what I normally do is I'll just eyeball about 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch, and then that's what I set my blade height to. And then make your cut. Okay, now you'll want to test it. And that's exactly what you're looking for right there. Okay, now to cut this to size, what you want to do, if I can find my pencil. You want to bring this right to the edge of that miter. Let it sit, and then come over here to the edge of this miter, mark it. I know that's the length that I need. Then you want to test it. And that right there is what you want. Now do the same thing with your short pieces. Make sure I'm not cutting the wrong side. And I was getting ready to. Mark it. Make your cut. Make sure it looks good. Now we're ready to glue this up. All right, I have my pieces laid out inside face down. And you want to start with a short piece, long piece, short piece, long piece. Now for years I made these boxes and I just put them together like this right here, and then whenever I'd go to fold them up and clamp them together, they would kind of be out of whack just a little bit. So what I prefer is taking a straight edge, like a 4-foot level, or if you have a straight piece of plywood or anything like that, that'll be perfect. But you want to put all these pieces against the straight edge. Now you know that they're all straight in line with each other. And then what I do, the taping on these miters, if you watch YouTube videos, you'll see a lot of people go down the miter and then run pieces across it. I've been doing it like this for years, and I haven't had any problems or regrets with it yet. So this right here is exactly what I do. Then, now, after we flip this over and we go to put it back together, this edge right here, I will have to rip 2 individual pieces of tape and put on them. Flip it over. Now we're ready to add some glue. And what I like to do before I get the whole thing together, it doesn't matter if you do this or not, you're still going to get some glue squeeze out in the corners, but I would rather do this and take care of the majority of it now versus after it's together. Put your bottom in. Make sure you put the right bottom piece in it. Wipe out the excess glue. And you don't have to do this the way that I'm doing it. I'm sure there's 750 different ways to do this. This is just how I do it. and it's been working for me, and it has made me tons of money. And after we get this put together, um, I'll speak to you about the sales price for these boxes. And this last miter, sometimes if your table isn't perfectly flat like mine isn't, you'll have to fudge around a little bit with the miter to get it lined up perfect, but it ain't no biggie. It's easy to do. And if you're watching this and you've already been doing woodworking, then you're probably sitting there saying to me now, an easier way to do all this. Or you already know what I'm saying. Okay, here's our box carcass. It's all glued up. Usually what I do is 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, this thing's usually dry enough to take the tape off and do what we got to do. All right, check it for square. Looks good that way. Good that way. Looks good that way. Looks good that way. Now, keep in mind, whenever you put this together and you go to throw a square on it, if it isn't 100% square, don't throw a hissy over it. I've built hundreds of these that haven't been 100% square, and you just got to learn how to work around it. And that's what separates the boys from the men whenever you're doing woodworking. If you can, by all means, do the project right and give the customer quality work. But sometimes you run into things to where you may be a 16th of an inch out of square, and it really wouldn't matter if this is where we was going to stop. But where you got to cut a lid and you have to rabbet out the bottom of the lid to fit inside of that, that's where it's going to matter. So you can work around it. You just have to be patient, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get. All right, let's talk about the cost of this box whenever it's completed product. When I first started making these, which they wasn't up to par with the quality that I make them at now, but whenever I first started making these, I was selling them for $25 to $35 a piece. And people was buying them like hotcakes, and I was swamped in work putting these together all the time. And then one day I sat down and figured up the money that I had in wood, glue, saw blades, sandpaper, finish, all that stuff, and the money that I had made off of building them and selling them. And don't get me wrong, I had been making money. I was making money with them, and there was a profit margin, but it wasn't nowhere near what it should have been. So for this box, just like this one, this is 9 inches wide, 12 inches long, 3.5 inches tall. We will take a router and make a trim to go around the base right here. And then I'll take a lid and wrap it out around the bottom of the lid, put the lid in here, round over the lid. I'll throw it in a laser and put Holy Bible across the top with a cross on it. And then just for that, just for what I explained to you with a finish on it, you're looking at anywhere between $55 to $65. Okay. Whenever I list these for sale, I will put an option on there that I can put family names on them. Some people want you to take on the inside, the underside of the lid, and put names or dates or whatever on them. And I have no problem doing that for people, but it is extra. And at first, I was charging by the letter. And whenever people ask you how much it is, you tell them, well, I charge X amount of whatever for per letter. It scares them off. So what I'll do is if they want a family or say a lady ordered one earlier today and she wanted her father's name on it. And I said, well, for a first and last name, it's $10 extra. She's like, well, I want his first, middle, and last name. I was like, okay, well, then you're looking at $15 extra. So they don't take no time to make. And like I said, once you start making these and you get in a groove of making them and you sell them and you make them more and more and more, you can have one of these made in an hour. Now that's not counting time waiting on the glue to dry and stuff like that. The lid for this box, what we're going to do is we're going to do a laminated lid. It'll be cherry with 2 white oak strips, and the oak around the base will be cherry. And you got to account for the time for these miters to dry. You have to account for the time for that glue to dry. But besides that, I mean, once you get in a rhythm of making these things, you can have one made within an hour. And what I like to do is I'll make plain Jane tops. I'll make many different tops for the tops of these Bible boxes. So what I'll do is I will build up probably up to 10 of these boxes, put the trim around the base, and leave the lids alone. I'll wait till they order them, figure out what they're wanting to do, what type of lid they want, what type of lettering they want. They may not want Holy Bible on it with a cross. They may want Holy Bible with a set of praying hands on it, or they may want Holy Bible with Jesus' face on it. Or they may not want nothing on it but a set of praying hands, or they may not want nothing religious on it. They may just want whatever they want you to do custom on it. But it's a very good money maker for Christmas, birthdays, many types of holidays of the year. I find that these things sell like crazy. From day one, when I started woodworking for as a side hustle for money, till now, this is still my number one top seller. Out of everything that I've made, these things are still selling just as great today as they did 3 years ago. Okay, guys, our box is all dried up, got the tape pulled off of it. I did a light sanding on it just to get rid of any glue residue. But what we're going to do now is we're going to make this trim that goes around the bottom. And I've got this piece of cherry here that is 6 3/8 wide, 26 inches long. You don't need 26 inches long. I could actually cut this down to let's see, we're at 12 inches. I could actually cut that down to 15 inches and it would be perfect. Okay, I have a router bit, my router here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come up this side, then I'm going to come up this side, then I'm going to go to the table saw and I'm going to rip them 2 pieces off. Then I'm going to route 2 more edges, cut 2 more off, and then we'll be ready to make our miters to put them on the bottom of the box. All right, we have our 4 trim pieces cut, and this is what they look like. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to lay one of these right on it, and I'm going to mark the back side. Then I'm going to number this first piece, number 1, and I'm going to mark that on the box and on the piece of trim. And then we'll cut it. Okay, you can see that I've already got two pieces on here, and that's just to speed the video up a little bit. But what you do is you'll get your first piece, mark the back of it, cut them, put it on. Then you can custom fit these things as you go. So what I'll do now is I'll 45 this in, bring it down to where that miter looks great. I'll mark this backside, 45 it, come back before I glue it. I will still make sure that everything's going to work out right, and just go from there and go all the way around. Okay, now you can see we got the trim all the way around our box. Now what we have to do is, oh, before I go any further on the trim, if you get to a piece to where a piece of the trim sticks out past the piece just a little bit, whenever you go to sand this trim, and you can either make a mold. I got a short form video up on how to make a mold using Bondo and clear plastic to sand this profile on this trim. But if you'd rather not do that, get you a little detail sander pad with a little, I think they're 1 inch wide by 3 inch long sanding pads, and just sand them by hand. It don't take long to sand them, but you can take care of every bit of that. So if you see anything, like all three of my miters are matching up pretty good except for one, and I can touch that up. I'm going to touch all of them up, but I can touch that one up with a little detail sander. But what we're going to do now is work on the lid, and I have another piece of cherry here. And in the beginning of the video, the board that I cut the box pieces from, I said that I probably have enough left out of it to make the trim to go around the bottom. Well, I did, but the thing is we're not using oak on the trim. We have to use cherry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut me 2 strips out of this, and then I'm going to cut me 1 wide strip and 2 thin strips out of this, laminate them together, glue them together, and I'll show you how we're going to do all this. So you take your tape measure, you know you got 9 inches wide, so you need 9 inches wide. Well, the way that I make these lids fit perfectly on this box is I'll do the glue ups, and I'll have it to where everything is about 1/8 of an inch longer and wider than it needs to be. And I'll put this lid on top of here, secure it to the box, and then I'll take a router with a flush trim bit, and I will go all the way around this. So whenever I'm done routing it, then that lid is identical to the box beneath it. Okay, you'll see that I already have all my pieces cut for this. And what I do is I determine the 2 white oak strips that are going to be in this lid. I determine on how wide that I want them to be. These are 1 1/4 inches. So that's 2.5. Then for the 2 cherry strips that go out here on the outside edges, they're 7/8 of an inch. So you come over here, you'll want to line these 2 white oak strips up with this side of the box. Then you can measure, and that says 4 5/8. So that is what size my middle panel needs to be. But like I said earlier, I keep everything a little bit bigger so that I can flush trim the lid to this box. So instead of going at even 4 5/8, I went ahead and went 4 7/8. So that gives me enough right here. Now it looks like a lot sticking over right there, but by the time I glue this up, keep in mind you'll have clamping pressure that's going to bring that down a little bit more. And then this overhang that you see right here will be divided between the left side and the right side. So I'm going to glue these up real quick, and we'll come back and cut this lid to fit the box. Okay, we got our lid glued up, and I know you can see where these are thicker. Don't worry about that, because once the glue's dry on this lid, we're going to run it through the planer and get it down to where everything's flush. And but once you glue this, look at your clock or your phone or your watch or whatever, and just add 30 minutes to the time that whatever time that it is, and you should be able to be good enough to go back and take this out of the clamp 30 minutes from now, run it through the planer, and then start flush trimming it. All right, guys, we got our lid out of the clamps. Now we're going to run it through the planer, get everything down flush with itself, and go from there. All right, now we have our lid planed down to where everything's flush and smooth with each other. And you can see that I have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around this box. So now we will flush trim this lid. Okay, now we got a perfect mirror image from the lid to the box. And the discoloring that you see right here on the box itself from the bearing on the router bit, don't worry about that. That'll sand right off there. All right, now that we got the lid trimmed to the box, what I'm going to do now is take a combination square and come over here to the side of the box and adjust it to where it just comes out flush with the inside of that box. Then I'm going to come over here, take my pencil and mark that. And all 4 sides are the same thickness, so I only need to do that once. Transfer this to the edge so that I can see it and line it up on my table saw. All right, now bring your fence over on your table saw and line this side with the outside of that pencil mark we just made with one of the carbides on your blade. Then you want to adjust the height on your blade to about half the thickness of the lid. Okay, now that you have that, and I'm sorry about the sawdust flying up in the camera on that video. The dust collection on this Delta table saw isn't really that great. But now that you have that, take your fence out of the way, get your combination square, and you want to come down here, and where the depth of your cut is, you want to make you a straight line from the edge up to that. Then you want to raise the height of your blade to wherever that cut is. Then come back over that mark that you just made, line it up like you did with the first mark, and then cut it. And now you have rabbeted out the bottom side of this lid to fit in your box. Okay, we got our lid rabbeted out on the bottom to fit this box. I went ahead and did our round over, and I went ahead and I didn't want to bore you all with the sanding, because we all know everybody's favorite part is sanding. But I already went ahead and sanded the top of this and the sides and started on the profile around the bottom. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw this in the laser. I'm going to do the lettering and the cross. Normally, whenever it's a customer's box and they have any personal family names on it, I normally don't showcase them on YouTube. But I had spoke with this lady. She wants a copy of this video, and she had no problem with me putting the family name in the video. So I'm going to go do that real quick, and we'll be right back. Well, guys, here it is. This is the finished product. Another one done, ready for its owner. I just put a polyacrylic finish on this. They had asked about polyurethane, and I told them that polyurethane give it that real plastic feel. But this don't have a whole lot of shine to it, and it's still not dull. So this is what they ended up going with. And like you see, I just laser engraved the cross and the lettering. But this is how it turns out. And if you pay attention to the measurements that I spoke of in the video and everything else that we did in the video, you too can make this Bible box right here. Like I said, it's 12 inches long, 9 inches wide, 3.5 inches tall. And just take them measurements, do your own thing. These side walls are 3/4 of an inch thick. You can go 5/8 of an inch thick. You can do whatever you want to do. You can make it your own way, but I usually do mine 3/4 of an inch thick. The lid, the finished thickness of the lid after the rabbet is 3/4 of an inch thick. But this right here, if it hadn't have been for trying to video this, I could have made this box. I could have done everything that I needed to do minus the glue ups, the time waiting on the glue to dry and stuff, in an hour. It's no real big feat. And this one right here will be $65 because of the extra last name. But I hope you like this. I hope you all try to make your own. And if you do make your own, send me pictures of it. But if you like this, please hit that like button. And if you like this, I'm going to start producing more content. So if you would, please click the subscribe button and click the bell. And it'll really help me out and help the channel out a lot. And I hope you guys like this.